Welcome to the AGJC's weekly Pre-Shabbat Zoom. Each week, we gather together, the Jewish communities of all 6 GCC countries and our families and friends from around the world, to hear an inspirational message before Shabbat, light candles, hear Dvar Torah, pray, and read a section from the weekly Torah portion. It has been an absolutely incredible week as we welcomed Israel's President Isaac Herzog to Bahrain this week. He met with His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to discuss areas of mutual interest, as well as with the Economic Development Board, to discuss how our two economies can further collaborate. And he met with the Jewish community to hear about our community, and his message was loud and clear that Bahrain and Israel countries and its leaders. Continuing on the Abraham Accords theme, we are thrilled to welcome Liron, Consul General of Israel to Dubai, to our call today. Liron and I have been following each other on Twitter and DM'd several times when I first met her a couple of months back when I participated in the APAC delegation to Bahrain and the UAE. I had the privilege of meeting Liron and her husband Ohad and was fascinated to learn how they first met and even more inspired by how they both serve their country here in the GCC. The Association of Gulf Jewish Communities is the umbrella organization for the Jewish communities of the GCC countries that are building and enhancing Jewish life in the region. While each community is independent, we share a common goal and vision for Jewish life to flourish in the Gulf for the benefit of both residents and visitors. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you will join us next week as well. To stay updated on AGJC events, please follow us on Twitter at @GulfJewish and visit our website, www.gulfjewish.org. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom from Rome, where I spoke at the Abraham Accords Global Leadership Summit with Ambassador Danny Denon, the former ambassador to the UN. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Huda. And now we'll hand it over to Romy, who's going to do candlelight.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to bringing Shabbat in. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you so much. And now we'll head over to Ayal, who's going to lead us in Yizid Nefesh.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here today, to see many friends and colleagues. I can share that I just returned from Bahrain last week, and it's great to visit the community, to visit the synagogue, and also to see your familiar faces. And Jason, it's good to see you here. So of course, you're invited to Germany for Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Avarach Haman, Meshoch Avdecha El Retzonecha, Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayal, Ishtachavenu Ladarecha, Yerav lo Yedidutecha, Minofetzu vechol tam, Adonai ziva olam, nafshi chol atavatecha, ana el arefana la, Noam zivach, אז תתחזק ותתרפא, והייתה לך שפחת עולם, ותיק אמונה, רחמך וחוסנה על בן אהובך, כי זה נחשפתי לראות בתפארת עוזך, אנא אלי מחמל ליבי וחוסנה ואל תתעלם יגאלנה ופרוס חביב עלי את סוכת שלומך לכבודך נגילה ונשמחה בך מהר אהוב כי במועד וכוננו כימי עולם. תודה רבה.
Thank you so much, Ayal. And now over to Alex for Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. שמו וזכה בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עם מלוכה ומצאים מתוך הפכה רהב לך שבט בימי קבחה ויהיו יחמול עלייך חמלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש בין פרסי ונשמחה ונגילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Thank you so much, Alex. And now to introduce our guest speaker, we're going to head over to Dorian Barak, who is the co-founder of the UAE Israel Business Council.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Perfect.
Great. It's an immense pleasure for me to introduce a special friend and a great leader, someone who's having a truly meaningful impact on relations between the UAE and Israel across economics, cultural matters, political level, and of course at the people-to-people level. Liron Zaslansky, for those of you who know her, is a dynamo of energy and ideas. She is a superb diplomat, and we are truly fortunate to have her as Israel's Consul General in the United Arab Emirates. Liron has a pretty remarkable background, which really spans the globe. After joining Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2006, she's filled a number of diplomatic positions around the world in places as diverse as Costa Rica, the Arabian Gulf, Germany, India, at Israel's mission to the European Union and NATO. And in her most recent position prior to coming to the UAE, Mrs. Aslansky served as director of the Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon Affairs Department in the Middle East and Peace Process Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So she comes with a very, very deep and rich background to her role. She has a BA and an MA in International Relations from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, and she's a very well-read, informed, and I think perceptive leader as well. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce her, Liron. And I forgot to mention, she also is married with 3 children. I don't know how she had time with all of these other things to get that done as well. But it speaks to what a remarkable person she is. Liron, please.
Dorian, that was a fabulous introduction, and now I have to live up to all of those expectations. So thank you so much for this. And yeah, I think the mother of 3 in me is just hoping that nobody will barge in the door while I'm speaking. Hood, I have something for you. I thought to open up otherwise, but since I'm here and I see what's behind me, I want to show you. I'm at our study in the new apartment, and I want to show you the picture behind me. And whether you recognize it or not, this is Bahrain from 2010. It was a goodbye present that Ohad, my husband, received from one of his friends in Manama before he left back to Israel to complete his diplomatic training and join the MFA. And it's a symbol to where we started, what we've done, and where we're going. And you know, it's very well profound in Judaism that you have to remember where you came from in order to know where to proceed. So both the UAE and Bahrain have a very large influence on our personal life and professional life, and it's an honor, and I'm super excited to be here with you and talking about Israel in Dubai and Israel in the UAE. And it's only 10 minutes, so I'm going to run through a few points with hopeful wishes that we'll be able to meet again and have an open conversation, because I'm dying to ask all of you a lot of questions as well. So thank you for having me. And I want to start at the past, but connect to the present. So peace doesn't happen in a day. And peace cannot happen if you don't put a lot of effort to build it and to build connections and to build familiarity between people. And this is what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was trying to do in the Gulf countries for about, I would say, 20 years before the agreement. And what we see today, the Abraham Accords were a result of rotation of a lot of processes that started early on, but it came finally to the correct time and the correct place for it to be out in the open, and for our leaders to sign the accords and to move on to what we have today. And it's astonishing. In the 2 years since the Abraham Accords were signed, the advancement in the bilateral relations between Israel and the UAE is remarkable. It's not only the signature, but is how quickly we implemented the signature. So ever since then, we have 3 diplomatic representations in the Gulf and 1 in Morocco. We signed with the UAE over 20 bilateral agreements, and the last of them is the free trade agreement that is supposed to come into force in the 1st of January. We had tens of official visits to the UAE, 3 presidential visits, 2 prime ministers visit, many ministers during Expo and after, visits from the foreign minister of the UAE to Israel, a remarkable visit, and other ministers who visited as well, which is less known. I had a conversation with the ambassador today, and he emphasized that. Said, no, but you have to remember that at least 4 or 5 other ministers was also in Israel. So the balance is totally towards how many Israelis were here, but there's a very substantial numbers of traffic towards Israel, and it's our mission to enhance that. we see a lot of advancements in trade, in tourism, in investment. But more than that, the Abraham Accords represent, in my eyes, a very fundamental strategic change in the geopolitics of our region. It broke a lot of many fixed truths that were there before, and showed that there is another way, that it's not one depending on the other. It's one can live in parallel to the other. And that peace gets you to further and to better places than disagreement. In order, if you want to speak and you want to build bridges, you need the dialogue, and you need the connections between people, and you need the connections between leaders, and that's the most fundamental change, because you see that in very hard issues that we might not agree on, we haven't agreed on in the past, we still don't agree on, but we know how to talk about it, and we know how to make each other comfortable with what's happening on the other side, or less uncomfortable in some circumstances. The leadership of the UAE sees this relationship as a long-term thing. It's not something that is hanging on a thread or threatened by any way. It's a long process with an open end. And in our conversations, and I think that it's also reflected outside to the public, this is something that is built to last. And I think that our responsibility for me as a diplomat, for you as representatives of the Jewish communities, it's up to us to make it sustainable, not only in the leadership level, but also in the people-to-people level. Because only a true friendship will keep this peace for a long time. And I have spent 4 years as director for Jordan, so I know that it can go the other way. And we need to take our lessons from that and do whatever we can do. And it's a joint responsibility to make this a lasting peace. A few astonishing numbers. Trade between Israel and the UAE has now passed the $2 billion threshold only in the first 10 months of 2022. The whole trade balance of 2021 was by $1.2 billion. So we expect by the end of this year to have it double to close to 2.4 billion. And that's amazing, because I want to remind you all that by 2020, there was nothing, or very small numbers. So we see the economy is driving this relationship forward and opening new markets and new relationships. The UAE serves as a catalyst to Israeli economy. We see ourselves as complementary to the needs of the UAE. You know, you look outside in Dubai and everything is top notch. It's like, what can we do to give, what can we give them that they don't have or they cannot buy? And I think the basic answer for that is the how to build an ecosystem, how to be more innovative. How do you make your people aspire for more when they will need to be the one who built it, not the one who buys it? And in this, we're putting a lot of effort. Another astonishing number is almost 500,000 Israelis that visited the UAE since the signature of the Abraham Accords. Often I go in Dubai Mall and I hear more Hebrew than I think that I'm in Malcha in the middle of Jerusalem. And it's lovely to see. And I think it falls into a place right now that the two sides know how to respect each other's customs and how to be apart. And it's lovely to see the coexistence here between Israelis, other nationalities, and everything works together. And I don't know, maybe shopping will make the world unite, but it's happening here in Dubai, and it brings Israel into the heart of the Arab world. And Dubai is a place that you don't only, it's not even you don't see only Emiratis. Most of the people you see are not Emiratis. So it has this view of the world that it wasn't accessible to Israelis before, and is very accessible now. And it's open-minded, and I think this is what also attracts a lot of Israelis here, to see something different, to speak to people that they will not have any opportunity to speak with in any other place in the world. What else can I tell you? We do have challenges in education, for example. We cannot forget that there were years here that there wasn't any positive education on Judaism and on Israelism, and we see it as our duty to also try to promote cooperation in education, exchanges of students, putting more of the Holocaust issue into the education system, because that's a fundamental point to get to know the other. And it's on our to-do list, and we're trying to build the bridge on that, because you need to start with education, and you need to start with the kids, and you need to start with bringing up a new generation that these Abraham Accords will seem something very natural to. And in the same place, it will still remain remarkable in our eyes, because it's nothing less than remarkable and exciting. And I think I'll end with that, because I can go on for another half an hour. And I want to say again that I'm really happy to be here. And I see this very unique group of people. And Jason, it's really nice to see you again, even if it's from afar. And Huda, I told you, and I'll tell you every time, I'm humbled to meet you. You're such a great personality and such an inspiration as a colleague and as a woman. And I'm very happy that we finally met face to face. I'm looking forward to a lunch or something that I can grill you more in questions. Dorian, thanks for the great introduction again. And I'm waiting for you here in Dubai. And and thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I think one of the first events you guys hosted here was for Rosh Hashanah, and it was so nice to spend Rosh Hashanah, well, pre-Rosh Hashanah with you. And I know the community came out in droves to help support. So we're very excited to have you here as well. You might have noticed we are shifting around the order a little bit today. So we will head next to Alex, who's going to read from the Parsha for us.
Thank you, Ariela. Good to see so many familiar faces. Liron, I have an idea for you. If you go for lunch with Huda, we have somebody here who is going to open a sushi restaurant. So maybe that's an idea to go for lunch. וייסעו מבית אל, ויהיות קרבת הארץ לבוא אפרתה ותלד רחל ותקש בלידתה, ויהי בהקשת בלידתה, ותאמר לה מיילדת אל תראי כי גם זה לך בן, ויהי בצאת נפשה כי מתה, ותקרא שמו בן עוני, ואביו קרא לו בנימין. ותמת רחל ותיקבר בדרך אפרתה היא בית לחם, ויצב יעקב מצבה על קבורתה, היא מצבת קבורת רחל עד היום. וייסע ישראל ויית העולה מהלה למגדל עדר, ויהי בישכון ישראל בארץ ההיא, וילך ראובן וישכב את בלהה פילגש אביו, וישמע ישראל, ויהיו בני יעקב 12, בני לאה בכור יעקב, ראובן ושמעון ולוי ויהודה, ויששכר וזבולון, בני רחל, יוסף ובנימין.
Thank you so much, Alex. And now we will head over to Mickey, who's going to do the English translation.
They set out from Bethel, but when they were still some distance short of Ephrath, Rachel was in childbirth, and she had hard labor. When her labor was at its hardest, the midwife said to her, "Have no fear, for it is another boy for you." But as she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named him Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. Then Rachel died. She was buried on the road to Ephrath, now Bethlehem. Over her grave, Jacob set up a pillar. It is the pillar at Rachel's grave to this day. And Israel journeyed on and pitched his tent beyond Migdal Eder.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And now we will turn over to Randy, who's going to do the prayer for peace.
Thank you. Lord of peace, divine ruler to whom peace belongs, Master of peace, creator of all things, may it be your will to put an end to war and bloodshed on earth, and to spread a great and wonderful peace over the whole world. Help us and save us all, and let us cling tightly to the virtue of peace. Let there be a truly great peace between every person and their fellow, and let there be no discord between people, even in their hearts. Let us never shame any person on earth, great or small. May it be granted unto us to fulfill thy commandment, to love thy neighbor as thyself, and with all our hearts and souls and body and possession. God, who is peace, bless us with peace.
Thank you so much. And now we will turn to Sharon for the prayer for the GCC.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here today. May he who gives salvation to kings and dominion to princes, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, who delivers his servant David from the evil sword, who makes a way in the sea and a path through the mighty waters, bless and protect, guard and help, exalt, magnify and uplift His Majesty the King of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty the King of Bahrain, His Majesty the Sultan of Oman, His Highness the President of the UAE, His Highness the Emir of Kuwait, His Highness the Emir of Qatar, and all their crown princes. And may the Supreme King of Kings in his mercy put a spirit of wisdom and understanding into their hearts and the hearts of all their counselors and officials to deal kindly with us, the house of Jacob, and all the people of this land. Be their shelter and stronghold, and let them not falter. In their days and in ours, may these lands be blessed with stability, prosperity, and peace. May this be his will, and let us say amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And before we turn over for our Dvar Torah, just a quick reminder to please join us same time, same place, and same Zoom link next Friday here. We have a wonderful lineup of speakers for this month. And it feels like you can't really tell the story of Jewish life growing in the Gulf without talking about kosher food growing in the Gulf. Some of us remember when there were, no kosher restaurants out here, and then we got one in the Burj, and before you knew it, we had a whole bunch of them that popped up, and now Bahrain also. Huda takes us every week to the Bahrain Kosher Corner as she goes to the supermarket, and much of that is possible because of our next speaker. And it's really an honor to introduce Rabbi Menachem Gedak, the global CEO of OU Kosher, which represents the majority of kosher products available on supermarket shelves around the world. So without further ado, Rabbi Gedak, we're honored to hear from you today. I think you might be muted.
Unmute. I was just going to say thank you, Arielle, for hosting us virtually. And it's really a great pleasure for me to be on this program with you. I want to just begin by telling a story how the first time I met Huda, this was at the State Department. Hillary had made an iftar in the State Department, and a woman came over to me, who was Huda, and she told me that she's the ambassador from Bahrain to the United States of America, and she's Jewish. I almost fell off my seat, but we were looking for, this was way before we could have dreamt maybe about the Abraham Accords, but this relationship with the Jewish community, with Israel, as it begins to grow and prosper, is something that everybody is looking forward to. This week's Parsha Vayishlach, we see Yaakov Avinu as he's about to encounter his murderous brother Esav. And as he appears to him, as Rashi comments, he appears L'dorim, L'tfilo, L'mechama. First, he appeases him with many gifts. He prays God for his protection, but he prepares for battle if necessary. But Yaakov, as he bows down, as the pasuk says, 7 times to Esav, we see Yaakov almost, it seems to us almost like an obsequious person. But then later in the parsha, we read about Yaakov Avinu does battle with this mysterious person. Rashi says, Chazal tells us, this person is Sorosh Shel Esav. And at the end of this battle, Yaakov prevails, and the angel of Esav gives Yaakov a different name, Yisrael. That you did battle with angels and humans as well, and man, and you prevailed. Of course, Yaakov is not completely unhurt in this. After he walks away limping, and we remember that somehow his sciatic nerve center that we deal with in Kashrus all the time has been dislocated. But this is Yaakov in a moment of great power and strength, even doing battle, not only the whole night. Vayivik imo, he fights with him and struggles with him till the morning. And this is a completely different picture of Yaakov. So, there are two elements and two words that we should think about. This I heard from Rabbi Soloveitchik. Every morning we say two brachas. One is Ota Yisrael B'Gvura, Ota Yisrael Anos Eno Yev Koach, and Ota Yisrael B'Gvura. Anos, what is the difference between the word Gvura and Koach? Said the Rav, Koach means power, strength. A nation with a great army is considered powerful. It has much koach. Gvura is a different concept completely. Gvura means a sense of purpose, strength, not because of physical might, but because of a spiritual endowment and purpose. And indeed, each day when we wake up, we thank God that our eyes open again, and he gives us the physical strength, another day of life. But there's another word, and that's gvura. Gvura really means heroism. And the Rav said that koach and gvura are actually inversely proportional. The more a country has koach, the less it has to exhibit gvura. The more it has mighty armies, the less it has to demonstrate courage. And it's true about each one of us. So sometimes Yisrael, Israel, Yaakov, and his descendants are devoid of koach through so many periods tragically in Jewish history. But they always exhibited great gevura. And we hope to see the combination of both, of course. But that's the sense of purpose that Yaakov endowed his children with. And we hope to always be inspired by that, live up to that standard, both in terms of our individual relationships, family relationships. It should always be endowed with gevura, with purpose and heroism and determination. But also we pray also for koach when possible. I want to wish you all a very good Shabbos, and it's great to see everybody. Ariella, thank you. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, and thank you so much for joining us, especially while you're traveling. And we hope to see you one day soon, live in person here in the Gulf. And now we have an encore, Shalom Aleichem, with Alex.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem li Shalom, Malachei Yashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi melech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachoni leshalom malachei yashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem li shalom, malachei yashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.